Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode here of my MTV Screen Review and Theories podcast. I guess you can say short running because it only goes to the season, but podcast nonetheless. We're going to review episode 3 of season 2. I think this up, or it just ended mere 2 minutes ago, or 30 seconds ago, whatever. but no, it was a pretty good one. Uh, a lot of between Emma and her father. Um, Something that was in his hotel room that made it look like he could be the killer and everything. Um, let's just talk about the main plot or the other plot, the other thing. Actually, well, I think about the main plots with Emma, but subplot of sorry, I just got a text from or a contact from my co-host Jay. Hopefully he can make it, but anyway, of Audrey. So episode starts the way it ends last week. Seems like there's a theme here for this season. I don't know if that was the same theme from first season, but if it was, I didn't notice it or care to notice it. But now it's, I guess, something interesting. It's not a big thing within the whole scheme of things, but it's just something in itself interesting. But it starts there, finds Jake's body with a note from the killers of Audrey and everything. And then when she comes back, Noah, it's gone. And not only is the body gone, it's all cleaned up. Even other stuff was taken out, it seems like, from the shed. Now that tape, which also incriminates Audrey, also would have incriminated the killer, or at least it would have shown the killer was there. Still probably would have been in the get up and stuff, the mask and suit and whatever. So the identity would not have been shown, but the fact that the killer was there and they know that the body was there would have been known by them. So the fact that um, when Noah tries to play it on his computer and get it synced up and everything, the reason that it didn't work is actually the killer manufacturing that did not happen more than what Audrey was about to do and destroy it. That book holder thing. So at least that was my thinking in that way of reasoning that it was more the killer hiding his own identity or continued to as it should and making sure that no one would find out anything because it's still cat mouse game. Then what Audrey was going to do. At least to me, it seemed that way. But I guess in that same regard, Jake's body hasn't been found yet. So I think, at least from watching the preview for the next episode, it looks like the killer is going to use Jake's body, or maybe even parts of his body, or something to make people think that he's still alive, even though we know he isn't, and Audrey knows he isn't. Or it'll just be a dream sequence or something, some kind of thing, because we saw there's Jake, but Jake isn't alive anymore. So that's going to be interesting how that'll unfold, how that happens, and how it manipulates things. Because at one point in this episode, Audrey thought Emma was in trouble in the hotel room, which was the hotel room with their father, of her father, and everything. So Audrey, being irrational as she was, putting two and two together, thinking that that really was her. That's why she called the cops. She called the cops because of that, not because of the fight that she came upon. Also, before I go, or before I wait here for my co-host, I want to dive deeper into the episode with him. I want to give a shout out to another YouTube channel, the YouTuber that talks about this TV show of ours, Julie HD JULIDADG, here on YouTube, where she actually watches the episode and commentary and then reviews it as well. A reaction and commentary is or reaction and review, so to speak. She does that for that and other shows she likes of the horror nature, other genres as well. But definitely can check out her channel and hopefully this next week, of course, or the week after, be able to have her on this show to talk the next episode. Next episode being episode 4. That seems like it's gonna be a good one. Then again, this whole series and of course this season is gonna be a good one, a good ride to the mid-season finale, and then obviously when we get to the end, the finale. And by that time, I'll be theoried out. Jay will be theoried out. All the other YouTubers that talk about the show will be theoried out with their whether they do top 10, top two, top person in general, however they do for their theories. Part of it certainly going to be interesting to find out how we do, how we all do. And I obviously watching all the other YouTubers as well and their channels and their synopsis of episodes and everything. And if I do bring it up here in my episode, in the near future or in this one as I talk with my co-host when he arrives, that I definitely will give them the shout out they deserve if I do bring up something that they brought up. But speaking of the great one, speaking of my co-host Jay of Talking WWE with Jay, has joined us. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, Steve, I'm good, thanks.
I got a little bit into the episode, or at least the beginning of the episode with Audrey, uh, ending it the way, or beginning this episode the way it ended last episode with her going to her house, finding Jake's body, the message. This time, starting off in this episode, reading the message, taking it off, and all the other stuff that happened. I guess, and also I talked about with when they came back, and she was with Noah, nothing was there. What are your thoughts, at least on those sequences of scenes?
Yeah, lots of mind game being played. Um, oh, I hear an echo. I don't know if that's going to affect the podcast. But oh, it's gone now, Steve. Yeah, I thought I think this is going to be something that we're going to see progress through as each episode, where RG's been the one being, uh, text and called and video sent and FaceTiming, all that. She's really like the main attention is kind of, I mean, I think the main character is still Emma, but RJ is playing a huge role this season, because she's the one getting harassed by this guy or girl, whoever this scream may be, that we all predict throughout episodes, who will shall it be. I thought it was interesting that she took the notes off, uh without taking a picture before taking it off, or just clearly taking it off. And then she was so nervous to go back to the storage or whatever. And everything was just gone because I think I mean it was planned that way. Don't want anyone to see anything but her, of course. So kind of weird, but yeah, she's really being her mind is just like elsewhere. And as you've seen, and I don't know if you're gonna get to it, but um scenes later on in the episode with her and Emma, and then her, and of course the guy's name who does the podcast,
Noah.
Noah. Yeah, no, I keep forgetting Noah's name. And what transpired there in in his house, in his room. So but yeah, very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, that was the next thing that I kind of already I went over a little bit. Um, but uh, with what they find or what Noah takes and tries to get it synced up with his computer on the security camera in that specific shed area thing, and then it not coming up, I think was more of the killer. They said the thing it was a killer mind game thing more than an Audrey thing because Audrey was gonna smash it because she could incriminate herself because she was there. Um, but I think it was more for the killer trying to play the games more so than what Audrey was gonna do because it would have kind of incriminated the killer, even though maybe not the identity, but the fact that it was there, which means there's body there, which with Noah, his head would be racing and thoughts and everything, and having to find out who it is, and yada yada. Still making Noah think and others think that Jake is still alive to keep playing the games because that just seems what it's the season is. It's not only with the tagline of nobody's safe and everybody's gonna you know could be the one. It's a mind game of this killer with everybody else, and specifically Emma. Is I don't know if you finally were ever able to watch that Super Tease trailer, but I think that part of it is the name of the game, at least on that aspect, and the killer side of it. So, but that scene specifically is kind of what we're going to allude to. What happened in Noah's house in his bedroom there, I think was more of a killer scrounging and trying to get rid of the tracks than what Audrey was trying to do, getting rid of hers. Your thoughts?
Yeah. And like you said, you alluded to earlier that you already kind of addressed it, but her, trying to take out Noah, as we seen, was just kind of like, oh no, um, knocking him out, whatever, for he won't see the footage. I mean, she was just so nervous. And it's, I don't know if you know, Steve, but I'm a little, I mean, I'm not confused, but I mean, I'm not sure why Audrey is taking these steps. Which, what I mean by that is, I mean that she's not telling Noah that she's seen Jake. She isn't telling anyone. And as we've seen in the sneak peek, as you've probably seen already as well, you said Jake sent that, and it's like, yeah, she knows he's dead. They don't know. I don't know why she's not. Maybe because the police wouldn't do anything, or telling other people would just harm every just mess up people's mind, or I'm not really sure. It just looks like she's a criminal. Okay, she's not in my eyes, but to other people, and when they find out, or say if Noah did see the footage, it would just look suspicious. And how do you explain that? Because you had opportunities to explain, but you don't want to explain. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think about that, Steve? It's kind of throwing right back at you. I don't know. Why do you think Audrey is taking these steps and she's not really explaining herself, explaining anything that she's going through? Did he tell her not to say anything, or what's really going on?
Yeah, that's certainly cryptic in its own sense. As I said with the first episode, the premiere here, season two, that I think MTV or the show or whatever in general is trying to make a point to her being the one and making people think, oh, it should be her from the very beginning. But I think her involvement with Piper and the accomplice, whoever in the end it is, I think it's more of the accomplice and the second killer here trying to. There's something that the killer has on Audrey that can truly incriminate her to the extent of making her look like the accomplice and making her look like it's a three-headed monster than a two-headed monster for one. And for two, I think that with that on top of it and her not telling people about Jake and him being already being killed, is that she's just taking orders from the killer is because she knows that if she doesn't, then all the information that the killer has on her is going to be shown to the world, shown to her friends, known, and then the whole trusting thing is talked about. No one to trust or can't trust, especially to Emma, will come unravel. So I think that's her main motivation to not say these things because she's put into a corner, so to speak, and there's no way for her to get out but to keep doing that person's bidding. I guess that's my take on it. Excuse me, but moving on specifically or to Emma and her father. Um, the last episode, she runs into him, or he runs into her, kind of in a spooky way. Something that we saw in the super teaser. But here, Emma trying to get close to her, finding out why he left, and then as we fast forward, um, the worker at the hotel gets killed by the killer, and then stuff is put into Emma Dad's hotel room, and later on, Emma finds her father beating up some random guy, he's drunk, and he was about to leave again. So the situation, so the dichotomy between Emma and Emma's dad, and incriminating evidence in a way against her father, it made me think maybe he is more of a likely candidate here. It could have been the other one, the cohort with the original killer. What are your thoughts?
I mean, good scenes. The hotel guy we care nothing about. So him dying, we're not okay. Who cares? Now when Emma goes to the hotel room because she thought her, her dad sent her there um, which wasn't her father. We kind of got word for Emma FaceTiming Audrey in the car. Look, I'm with her. Emma ignored her phone call because of the arguments they have had in the since the beginning of the episode that transpired. So she's worried. She finally get there, but Emma kind of like slow. I mean, she just like managed to escape that hole that she could have been in. And of course they're gonna save Emma. Emma's not going anywhere. I don't think anytime soon. Which brings her to actually see her father at the bar or club, wherever he was at, beating up some guy because he's drunk, and I see myself in you. We're similar, and telling Audrey she's right about my father and etc. Um, you know, I don't know, Steve. What I mean, I don't think the father's a bad guy, and I know everybody, Emma's mother, Audrey, now Emma. Oh, my father is a deadbeat or whatever, or my father, you guys are right about my law. Of course, I think they're writing it to like it seem that way, but I mean, I don't think he doesn't seem like that way. Now, what they could do is, um, you know, make him get angry and try to get back, but and then he become the guy, so to speak. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but I doubt that because I mean I think whoever you start with should end it, but of course they can change the plot setting and twist anything up just to think otherwise. But yeah, it totally interests me the way this episode went down. Um, better than I think the previous episode too. And then the sneak peek. I think next episode would be much better. I think Audrey finally seeing the guy in the mask again, the old girl in the mask again. Kind of come after their friends in the birthday bash and kind of ruin the birthday bash. And I think that would just accelerate a little more heat in this season. Kind of maybe getting some more explanations and Audrey kind of coming out knowing what she knows and telling him. I don't know. Even though the guy or girl has a lot on Audrey, I think everything's just adding up and it's adding up and it's adding up, and it's not gonna look good in the end because to me, how can you trust this guy? Do what I say. By the way, I just linked this video, and you did exactly what was told. I mean, you just gotta. I mean, if I was Audrey, you just gotta come out now, explain why you didn't explain, and then we gotta move from here. And that could happen in the next few episodes. Maybe she just gets overwhelmed or something gets leaked out anyway, and she just like screws it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, for sure. I definitely know what you mean, especially with Emma's father. Anybody could be, like I said, anybody could be the one. And with him, I know last week when you were able to join on, you're talking about Emma's mom being one of your top, or at least in your top five, at least at that point, who you thought it could be, because really anybody, whether us or whoever, that could think that or say that each person has a reason and has a motive to be the killer, to be that accomplice. But at least from the things that we saw, or at least from what I saw, my interpretation of what I saw here in this episode, Emma's father, he's on my radar now more than he was last week, of course, obviously, because he wasn't there until the end of the episode. But it just, I don't know, it's just too easy to go with Andre. And in the end, if it is, it is. But I just think it's in that situation, it's a puppet master puppet thing. The puppet master pulling strings and telling Audrey to do this, do that, or else this and that sort of kind of situation. So she's involved in some way, but not in a totally incriminating. She's the one who did it kind of way. I still feel that way, and even with anything that comes up or said, I don't. At least as of right now, I don't think anything changed my mind on that front. But moving on, or at least moving on in general, I'm gonna give my top five, for my theories and top five who I think could be the one. Number one could be Kieran. Still gonna be Kieran. We didn't see it at all, at least unless I missed it in this episode. But we definitely see it next week, of course. Number two, Emma's father, for all the reasons I spoke earlier. Number three, Eli. He's just getting that kind of vibe. I can't really see anything specific that he's done that put him on this list. Um, Audrey, just because of everything we talked about. I think she's always going to be on this list. And at number five, I actually have Brooke, and that, and to be quite honest with Brooke, I think as of right now, the reason she's on my list at number five is with me the thinking of everyone's a suspect and no one's safe. You know, Brooke, she, I'm sure things will be brought up, and already things have been brought up in season one of her motivations um, to collude with Piper. So I don't know if you were able to, um, but if you have a top five, top two on your suspect board.
Yeah, Steve, you did a top five, so I guess I'll do the same thing if I can try. Number five, being Audrey, I guess. Really, I mean, just the way they're plotting this, the storyline, if I can say, and as the season progresses, I don't think she can do all this and be the psychopath killer. But so season number five, number four would be Emma's father. I think, like you're right, you got to add him in there because I think he can have, retaliate later on. Because right now, or in a few episodes, you probably didn't think that. Even last week when he kind of introduced himself back into the scene because he's been gone for so long, I still didn't handpick him in my top four. Because I think that's just too easy. As much as you think it's easy for, um, um, who do you think is really easy to pick out? Eli. It's just like it's right there in front of you. I think the same way with Emma's father, but I can put him at a close number four. Number three, Karen, like you. Um, Number two, Eli, maybe. Um, Emma's mother is not in my top five, as you can hear. I kind of replaced her with Emma's father just because cause she's there in my mind, though. I mean, I'm not going away. But new, I just want to pick someone new. And I'm going to go with Mr. Branson. After coming back this episode, he used a voice which kind of throws it off for me because they wouldn't do that. But
Mhm.
I think all this time since he's got fired or he doesn't work or he doesn't work there anymore, he wants to get back at the students. He wants to get back at Brooke for leaving him in the house with a killer. And, he has every bit reason to be upset and kind of staying around the area for what? Why are you in the area? Why do this or that? And etc. So I think, he can definitely be a hot target right now. So that's why this week I'm putting him at my number one in front of Emma's mother that I did last week.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially when he tells Brooke that he's seen her already in town, but hasn't really said anything, or not made it known to her or any of the Liquid Six that he's been back, sort of thing. So that definitely is suspicious to say the least. Definitely makes sense to put him in the top five, let alone number one overall. There. Uh, that's pretty much it, at least for me on my end, for this episode of my thoughts, theories. Um, any last comments or theories that you want to bring up to everybody, and let them know where you can find you on Twitter?
No, I think next week is going to be just as great, Steve, with everybody being in the house. Already mentioned that everybody needs to stay in the house. The drink they had, probably poison or whatever the case may be. RG looking at the guy or girl, like I said, in that costume, in that mask, kind of freaks her out, bring back some memories and get everything. It's just going to be, if I may say, an electric episode. Something that I'm really excited for. So if you didn't see the sneak peek, find it. You can definitely find it on YouTube or MTV.com or something like that. Because it's intriguing. It gets you excited for the next episode. And with Audrey kind of touching that, it was like a bottle opener or whatever that he or she killed that hotel guy with. Got blood on her hands, just making her. He probably has footage of that. I mean, it's just going to add on. So Audrey is putting herself in deep, 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 deep dirt. But hopefully she can overcome it because I think people won't believe her at first, but maybe she can get some people to believe her. Use Noah and Noah kind of find evidence that it's not RG, but it's this or this and this person. And I think we'll get to that, of course, later on in the season. But I think this season would be just as good. And I'm excited so far, Steve, which is a great thing. They got me still to my seats. I'll be returning to watch it. Scream. next week live, and I just can't wait. You can follow me on Twitter at Talking WWE with J. That's just letter J on the end, that JAY. And you can follow me on Twitter.
And definitely check them out tomorrow night with a raw review. Talking WJ 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. I'll be part of that as well. You can follow me at Army underscore strong underscore 06 to talk all things Scream and at WWE underscore podcast for my WWE podcast, which I will be doing either tomorrow night or later this week at some point to do my Money in the Bank predictions for 2016 edition. Definitely looking forward to that. But until next time, everybody take care.